All right. So your first word, scission.
What?
Scission.
I need some spelling.
Scission is spelled
Oh,
SCISSION.
SCI. Let me check the book. Do you want to give me the definition that you have?
Well, what do you think it is? Because when I look at it, I know what it is.
Something like separation, because because I think of scissors.
Yes,
Yeah, something
exactly.
like that,
Yeah. So
like to
it's
separate
things or
something.
people to cut or divide things or people. I mean, not to cut people, but to, like divide them up.
Violence,
So it's the
violence.
action of cutting or being cut, a division or split between people or parties. In biochemistry, it is the breakage of a chemical bond, especially one in a long chain of molecule in a long chain molecule, so that two smaller chains result.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not in the book actually. Not in this one. I
Oh,
expect that it's in the Oxford one that's over there. So I'll check that
the
later.
Oxfordian book?
Yeah, that one is like thick.
No, that has
Like
something to do with Oxfordian is about Shakespeare.
that one is thick. It's Bible pages, so it's super thin,
Oh gosh.
and it's by like Bible script too, like how small it is. Like yeah,
Really? So
that
you
one
need
is
the
intense.
rolling magnifying glass to be able to.
Like
Oh
the
my
little thing
gosh.
that you librarians use or whatever.
The Dewey
Okay.
Decimal System. Okay, second word. You ready?
Yes.
Cruciverbalist.
I didn't mean to make that sound. I'm sorry. Cruise. Say it again.
Cruciverbalist.
Cruciverbalist. Cruciverbalist. Cruciverbalist. That sound is me flipping through pages. Cru. I'm assuming it's
Hmm.
Cruciverbalist.
Yes.
Wow, look at me, little Aquila and the bee. I forgot the alphabet now. Okay, there we go. Never mind. Nope. No,
It's not
it's
in
not in
there?
this one. Not in this one.
Oh, oh for 2.
Oh, for the record, I guess the people should know what I'm doing. While Leah is harassing me and degrading me with these words, this is what we are using as reference, just for
The
reference, and that's probably
chambers, for
mirror.
those who are listening, is
Yes.
the chambers of etymology.
Yeah, the Chambers Dictionary of Etymology, the origin and development of over 30,000 English words. That was
But
probably mirrored if you are.
cruciverbalist is not in there.
No, not in this one.
And not incision either.
Yeah, I'm going to check the
Okay.
Oxford one because that one, there's a lot of words in there. What's cruciverbalist mean?
Someone who enjoys or is skilled at crosswords.
I was thinking it was going to have something to do with like a crucible.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Cruciverbalist. Where? How does verbalist come in there? Well, I guess no, because verbal it's usually it's words.
Hmm.
I think even crucilinguist would make some more sense. Okay.
I really want to know what the root of cruca means,
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm going to look that up after. I was going to send that to you, but I get these so early in the morning that I feel like
Hmm.
if I sent them, it'll be an assault on the rest of your day. So I don't want to start your day with these. But now I feel like I'm going to because I
So
forget to send
kind.
them.
Cross. So the cruci
Oh,
root is what?
crossword.
Yeah.
Oh, crucifix. Duh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a deep duh, Leah. Jeez.
Well,
It's
because
like, duh.
crucifix, and I feel like I should have known that because crucifix, but yeah. Well, we call it the cross. We don't really say it's a crucifix. I think that's a Catholicism thing.
I think so. You have never heard. like in any of like the Christianity stuff that I'm like been exposed to or read about or anything, they don't use the
Hmm.
term. They talk about crucifixion, but they don't
Hmm.
call it the crucifix.
Right. We talk about the
Yeah,
crucifixion. He was crucified,
right.
and we talk about the crucifixion,
Hmm.
but we never, say the
Refer to it.
crucifix. Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't. Yeah, that's not something that we do. So I feel like
interesting.
that was deep down in there somewhere. Oh,
I never thought about that before.
I feel better for knowing this now. Where am I going to
Right?
use it? Hey,
Literally
I'm just.
nowhere except in this conversation and the next conversation.
I'm gonna work both those words into a meeting. That's one thing I absolutely love. I love being in meetings and using the $2 words and throwing everybody off where they're just like, okay, I
Like
don't
you'd be
know
like,
what that
I've always,
means.
ever since I was little, I've always wanted to be a cruciverbalist, and it's just something that I've always been passionate about. And they'd be like, wait, what? What? And they will think it's something to do with religion. They'll be like, okay, she Antichrist, is it her?
Oh my gosh. I think it was, what was the first, I think I used the word parenthetical,
Mhm.
and I was just like, no, if we look at the parenthetical, it really
I
explains
love that word.
what it means. It just sounds so easy, parenthetical. As if we look at the parenthetical, explain what it means, and somebody said, um, Leah, what word are you using? And I said, what word? What do you mean? Um, you said that it explains it. I don't know what you mean. The word, okay, well, we can move on. And then I said it again. She said that one. I said, oh, parenthetical,
Gotcha.
like parentheses, what's in the brackets.
Hmm.
Oh, I feel so stupid. I said, don't, because there was a time I didn't know what that word was either. So we're all learning here.
I felt stupid before too. It's just your turn now. No, I'm just playing. That's basically what you just said to her.
I feel like it as soon as you said it. That's not what I meant. But I feel like we need to just start being graceful to people, just like extending that grace of like, there was a time I didn't know any of this.
Right.
So don't be ashamed to ask questions.
I don't know so many words and like I'm unsure of them. I can spell words fairly easily. Like I can, if I hear a word, I can sound it out. I can figure out how it's working. I can
Yeah.
figure out the root meanings and stuff. But certain words, I have no idea what they mean. And I always tell my students, I always go back to the teaching thing. I always tell my students, yeah, I don't know what this means. Let's look it up. Because part of just being curious in life is just figuring stuff out and then sharing it with other people once you learn about it. So,
Yeah.
like you said, we need to have that grace with people so that people don't feel intimidated or like they're being belittled just for asking for help or
Right.
asking for
And
clarification. Sorry.
I really want to bring up some really good examples, but first I feel like we need to introduce the show
I
because I
think you should.
completely forgot to do that.
I thought you were leading into
So
that after you said cruciverbalist, but I mean,
we got started in another topic. And so welcome to the show, everyone. My name is Leah. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Take Up Space Podcast. If this is your first time, welcome. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. We would love to hear from you and know where you're tuning in from. And this week I am joined by Jason, my co-star.
yay, he's back again.
We're doing good with this consistency thing.
At this point, I'm like Jason Voorhees in the 80s. I
Listen, keep coming back.
am consistent. Pretty soon, I'm going to hit my zombie phase.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Real quick, who? No weapons, okay?
Hmm.
No weapons.
Hmm.
Who is going to win? Jason Voorhees, Mike Myers.
Which Jason Voorhees has he been? Is it like after 5 or 6 where he's
Jason,
zombie?
who? Because I want to say 3 or 4.
So he's like, well, one of those he wasn't actually Jason. It was an imposter.
Was it
What?
I can't remember which
I
one was
think,
the imposter.
yeah, but you
No,
mean
it.
like Jason drowned in the lake, but actually didn't drown in the lake. Grew
Yes.
up stuff. Um, I hate to say it, but Michael Myers, because the way that he's been written, they've made it like he's this otherworldly being. with Jason, it seemed like they were intentional with early on making it like, oh, okay, he's just this sort of maniac dude who didn't actually drown, right? And
Right.
sort of went to the woods and went crazy or went crazy, which rightfully so. He drowned in the lake because the people were making whoopee, right?
Yeah.
And he was supposed to be making sure he wasn't drowning in the lake. Um, but Michael Myers, he's been written as like almost supernatural, take 5 or 6 bullets to the chest for some reason, and somehow miraculously, point blank,
Right.
getting shot point blank, you miss the heart.
I don't know how you
So
did that though.
Michael Myers, unfortunately.
So today, okay, after let's say after Freddy versus Jason,
Mhm.
that Jason Voorhees, and today's Mike Myers.
Wait, you said after Freddy versus like the one from that remake that they made with Jared Padalecki or
I
Padalecki, however
don't
you
know
say his
these
name.
actors' name. You know what? I never look up the boogeyman actors.
What? Basically from the remake, right?
Yes.
The reboot. Oh my god. Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, which Michael Myers? The one from Rob Zombie Michael Myers?
Halloween Kills.
Jason.
No weapons.
No Weapons Jason. Yeah. I'm gonna say Jason
Okay.
because Michael Myers is
He's
like
faster in
pushing
this one though.
75.
He's got
All
the
you have to
comb over.
do at some point, just knock him over. I
Just
don't think that he was
take his
getting.
knees out. I don't know why nobody even thought to just take him out at the knee and
How
just
was he in
let
prison
him
for so
hobble.
long? And his bones are so strong, clearly, right? Was he
I
getting
don't understand.
sunlight? He was getting
Right?
sunlight, right?
He no, he found him outside at one point. He
Yeah,
was
because he
standing
was just
outside chained to the
right,
concrete.
right. So
That
he was
was
getting. I mean, that vitamin D wasn't a problem, but osteoporosis should have set in at some point, not to be ageist or
mm.
anything, but
But
like,
he was so fast
right,
and so strong.
took so many bullets to the chest. I don't understand it, but I think
Who is
that
still selling jumpsuits that he's able to readily purchase
mechanics,
these items?
mechanics.
Like he
Remember in
just
H2O, I think he killed a mechanic and stole their
he did.
remember that ugly car he stole in H2O?
Oh gosh. I think one of the most memorable parts, besides Josh Hartnett, one of the most memorable parts of uh, of H2O
Was you drinking
is
H2O?
is the girl who screamed in the bathroom because mommy a spider and she saw her purse get stolen. I would have
She saw
snatched her
her
my daughter
purse
so quick. Oh my gosh, her life just
snatched.
flashed before her eyes.
Like, little girl, shut up.
Right.
Come
Why
down
are you in a
here.
separate stall from your daughter? That's what I want to
That's
know.
also a very good question.
Why are you in a separate stall from your daughter? You
At
don't
this
know what's out here.
strange rest stop.
It's deserted. That's the crazy thing. He
Yeah,
just walked up
he just
to
showed
a.
up, tried to
Mm-mm,
shake the things open, and then just took her purse and got gone.
mm, yeah,
Yeah.
I. Mm. But Halloween H2O, it did what it was supposed to do. I guess it kept the story going.
You know, Michael Myers is trickier than Jason. I know we're sort of off topic from what you want to talk about. We're going to get back on topic with that. But Michael Myers, he has a one track mind. Even with Halloween Kills and stuff, he just had in mind, I got to kill Jamie Lee Curtis. I got to kill Laurie
How does
Strode.
he always know where she is? As many times as
So
he's been locked up.
if we could use her as bait, no disrespect to Jamie Lee Curtis, I'm sure she would be up for it to finally get rid of him, use him as bait. Jason doesn't have that problem. There's not one singular person that Jason is just completely entranced by, right?
True.
Or fixated on. Jason is just, if you are in my way, I'm going to kill you. I mean, Michael Myers is sort of like that too. We'll finish this later. Yeah.
I
I have
have a lot more
thoughts.
thoughts, but
Me too.
I'm gonna pull them back. I'm gonna pull them back.
Put a
Um,
pin in it. What do they say in corporate lingo? What would they say?
um, let's put a pin in that, and
Yeah.
we'll circle back offline.
Oof.
Let's talk about that offline. That sounds more of a personal problem.
Triggered. I'm tapping out. What's the safe word?
earlier we were talking about knowing knowing what you know now. There was a time that you didn't know what you know now.
Mhm,
Did I say that right? Yes. There we earlier we were talking about there was a time before you knew what you know now, and there have been. I mean, everybody on Instagram, TikTok, social media, whatever you want to look at, everybody's an expert, and it's just especially with Juneteenth now being commercialized
mhm.
because it's a holiday now. It's a federal
Yes.
holiday.
Yeah, which means
There's
money.
exactly, but not to. I don't get any
No,
money.
no.
The corporations that are already rich.
Why would you even suggest that? How dare you suggest that?
I just find like
Yeah.
the audacity to try to trademark Juneteenth. Did you see that?
Yeah, and then sold
Be-
the ice cream.
Just
Juneteenth ice
just to
cream.
sell the ice cream, and they trademarked it as a flavor. They trademarked Juneteenth as a flavor.
What the heck does emancipation taste like? What is that? What does right?
Apparently, red velvet ice cream.
What what does the focus group on that look like?
There was no focus group. It
I'm
was
not
like, do
quite
you
getting
want
the
to make some
freedom with
money? I want to
this.
make some money.
I'm not picking up on the liberation here. Maybe we should try a different different swirl in. Like, right? How does that
I
even come
just
up?
it literally came up. Hey, do you want to boost your quarterly projections? We just
Yeah.
found that Juneteenth is not trademarked, therefore nobody's making any money off of it. So if we make this product, we can trademark the name, and that way, if anybody wants to do anything
Hmm.
with Juneteenth flavor, we'll get the money for it.
So what's the flavor? I'm thinking black
I
people love
just
red velvet, right? Like,
like we're living in the twilight zone. Like
there's a
this
lot
is
of questions that come up. How did they settle on red velvet?
I,
That's the main question that comes up for me. Because the other things are pretty easy to surmise.
because
Money.
it was like what it was they produced it like it was Napoleon ice cream and Neapolitan ice cream. I sound like my father now. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I said Napoleon.
Get out of my
Ah,
face, gosh. Like Napoleon Dynamite.
I got into so many arguments about how to pronounce Neapolitan, and without even thinking, I said Napoleon. I can't even look at myself now.
That's sad.
Oh my gosh, it'll pass. But what just happened to my life?
You just need to wait, not to beat a dead horse, but is what scission is what a verb? No, adverb. What is scission?
Cision is a verb.
Verb.
No, it's a
Really?
noun.
Okay.
It's a noun.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Technically, and the technical term and biochemistry term, it is a noun,
Okay.
but it is the action or the state of
Right.
yes,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, but it's Neapolitan. Go ahead.
I can't stand you, but I also like that you know how to do that. But I really the audacity of some of these people. But with Juneteenth coming up, we have so many people who are um, saying, bringing up all the. I love the social media platforms that some people have where they're bringing out information, talking about Black liberation, talking more about not just like the main characters, but like going into depth about Marcus Garvey, talking about whether you agree with him or not.
Right.
Talking about W.E.B. Du Bois, talking about different artists. Billie Holiday, talking about Nina Simone. Angela Davis, and talking about a bunch of people, and not just staying on the surface of just like, well, there was a war, we're free, we're done, and it's like, no, we get to talk about the systemic effects and how
Hmm.
how we view things. And I mean, of course, there's always trolls here and there to try to take the conversation in a different direction. But the part that frustrates me is that there are other people y'all don't know about this yet? And I'm just like I was talking with one of my sisters earlier, and I was like, I said, did you know we had a Black American heritage flag? And she was, no, let's look
Mhm.
at it. So, showed it to her. And I was just like, I said that a couple years ago on Twitter, I want to say, um, yeah, it was 2020 on Twitter when somebody had brought this up. And I was like, oh, we actually have a Black heritage flag. And I was looking at
Mhm.
where it came from because the flag, the red, black, and green is the Pan African flag,
Right.
and I was trying to figure out like what the difference was. So for those who don't know, I just got educated today through Wikipedia and other sources, but mostly Wikipedia.
Break it down for us.
So apparently, Marcus Garvey in 19 nope nope early 1900s, because I don't remember the dates. I know that the Pan African flag was created in response to um, us being a people with no flag. So people with no flag has no pride. So they created a flag, and then in 1967, it was two gentlemen um, who created the um, Black Heritage flag. And the Black Heritage flag specifically had to do Black American Heritage flag specifically had to do with people who were come here through the slave trade and grew up in Black America. And I think that both flags are relevant, and it just kind of depends on what you want to use, what you have, what you want to say that this is your reference or whatever the case.
Right.
And I mean, whatever you feel is going to represent you, that's going to bring you pride, that's going to bring you joy.
Mhm.
Like I don't think there's a wrong way to represent, or there's a I mean, I can think of some wrong ways some other people have represented, but I'm just
Rachel
saying
Dolezal.
that
I know that's what you're thinking of.
I feel
I
like
know
I'm
it.
linked. There's some ways that people, jeez, I
You
just
can't
can't.
escape her.
I really every few months you bring that woman up, and I'm just
I
so
know.
ticked every
It's like
single
a
time.
like Tika Sumter.
And I just saw her on Ride Along. I was like, they gave her different hair. I don't know what it's just that she has the it's just a Barbie face with mahogany skin, and that one part that I don't care for Tika Sumter, and
Sorry.
you just spam
I'm
me.
not actually.
You're not every single
Mm,
time.
not in the least. Do go on. No wrong way to represent. That's where we
Yes.
were.
No, there is no wrong way.
Right.
Like people get upset about having you have to celebrate a certain way, and I'm like, there's no ceremonial garb, there's no ceremonial ritual, or whatever case you want to call it. There's no set hey, celebrate like this, because one, this is a lot of people for their first time hearing about um how Juneteenth came about. A
Yeah.
lot of them is their first time, because we don't hear
It's
about it in
it's on
school.
purpose.
Yeah.
It was intentional. Like it was
Mhm.
intentionally suppressed so that people wouldn't know about it, so people wouldn't take pride in this day that had been established. So now this is the moment where more people are hearing about it, so it has a more visible platform. But
And why not share the information that you have, but you don't have to be a dick about it. Like
right.
just say, "Hey, this is the information that I learned," because a lot of my information was passed down. 'Cause I didn't get it in high school.
Hmm.
I didn't get it in middle school, but when I got to college and I would come back and especially Miss Hodge class, oh, love
Hmm.
Professor Hodge. Talking two different people in Miss Hodge class is when I first realized that I think that's how I realized how to state that Black people are not a monolith. Like I
Hmm.
knew there were different types of Black people,
Right.
but I've only learned that through white spaces,
Hmm.
when the compliment was, "Oh, you're not one of those Black people."
Hmm.
But learning that Black people are not a monolith, not being a bad thing, because regardless of whatever wherever you are on the socioeconomic totem pole, like we
Or
have
however you
shared
carry yourself.
experiences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are specific shared experiences. Like we can post that's one thing I love about TikTok and Twitter and stuff, where we can post just a picture of like a cup or something, and it's like, oh,
Yes.
everybody's grandmother had that specific cup, or
Yes.
everybody's mom had a specific table or something. Like there are
Yes.
that's a relatively superficial shared experience, but there are specific shared experiences of like how we navigate this system and
Absolutely.
how we experience it. Even if you
Yes.
want to whitewash yourself, like even if somebody wants to whitewash themselves and not claim certain things, right? They still have experienced those things, but they may not acknowledge them and understand that it's because of the black experience that they've experienced that way. But if that makes sense.
Okay, let me collect my thoughts. I have not talked about this out loud.
Mhm.
So this is going to sound jumbled.
Okay, we'll work through it.
I absolutely understand exactly what you're talking about. And I think that the best example is there's a gentleman on TikTok who is black. He is under 25, I believe. And he otherizes himself.
Hmm.
They so people, okay, Carlton, like calling him Carlton kind of in shame,
Hmm.
but it's because his platform says, I'm rich, I don't have to live like I'm black. And I'm just like, okay, see, here's the issue. You make black synonymous with being poor.
Hmm.
And that's not the case. And every time I think of that, I think of when George Bush's wife, Laura Bush, went to the Superdome after Katrina, and she looks around and then looks at the news camera and says, "They were so black and so poor." That will always stick with me, and I'm just like, y'all aired this? Did y'all aired this?
How black were they? What? I actually I don't remember that video,
Are you like
but
I? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! That I think that's when I mean I was heavy in the news at that point because um I was trying to I think I was like working my way through some kind of debate stuff. But no, Katrina, yeah, and that video came up and I saw it a couple years after the fact. But sir, I don't like how when we as black people make it so that poor is synonymous with black people. Like loud is synonymous with black. All the negative stereotypes, not the creativity, not the respect, not the respect that we deserve, or how much we've gained, our intellect, or anything like that. None of that is synonymous with black people. But being
mhm,
loud, being ghetto, being poor,
mhm,
synonymous with black people. We know if we use certain words, they're considered dog whistles, that
right.
you're actually talking about a specific thing. And it's really frustrating when I thank God I have not been back around to his page, but I went through a couple of his posts, and it was after the third post I just could not. He was just saying how he grew up in a two-parent household and living in $1 million mansion, and he doesn't have to worry about this, that, or the third. He has XYZ businesses and blah 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 blah. He pays $50 to get his haircut, and he'll get his car washed for this amount, and he paid 200 for a watch and one. And I'm like,
But you're still black doing these
right.
things.
I don't
Like
understand. Like you're still going to get pulled over like everyone else.
like
Like
you
your clothes, your haircut, your that does not take away the color of your skin.
mhm,
And I say all that to say exactly what you said. There is a narrative that is built in their minds that if I dress, talk, walk, act a certain way,
Mhm.
I won't be seen, not I won't be seen as poor, or I won't be seen as a part of this socio um not a part of this social group, but I won't be seen as, not even I won't be seen as less than. I just won't be seen as black.
Yeah, or that
They'll
kind
see
of
my
black.
money, they'll see my
Yeah.
wealth, they'll see my clothes, they'll see what I purchase, and they'll see all these things, and
Mhm.
they'll know I'm not those black people.
Yeah, I'm not one of those black people. Yeah.
And I'm just like, he's still a kid. He's still a kid. Just don't. He's still a kid. Nope. He's still a kid. Nope. He's still a kid. Like, don't say shh.
You said under 25?
He's, yeah, I want to say he's 24. I think he's 20, 24, 25 years old. I don't think that he's
He's cutting kind of
26 yet,
close.
but I'm just like,
It's that wake up
you,
call.
sir. And someone made a very um I loved his response. He said, "Look, all the things you brought up, I have that and more.
Hmm.
But you know what? Nobody knows that because I don't talk down to them.
Hmm.
I talk to people with substance, with what they have, what they know, what they think, how they feel. And you come in hot talking down to them.
Hmm.
So what if you have X amount in the bank? Can you connect with other people? And I feel like a lot of times we lose that connection and relationship because we want to put so many barriers between each other and saying, well, I'm not those black people. I'm not
Hmm.
this kind of person, or I don't do this type of thing.
Hmm.
And it is not just it's not just race based. It could be like, oh, I'm not that kind of Christian,
Right.
or I'm not that kind of woman, or no, I'm not this type of girl, or I'm not
Hmm.
that type of man. And instead of just getting to know people where they are, who they are, because yes, I could say that I'm a black woman born in California, but we're not a monolith either.
Hmm.
There's a ton of different personalities that you could get. there's, a
Yeah.
ton, there's a ton. And I just feel like I get really frustrated when people try to otherize themselves, and then get mad when they want the acceptance of the black community, like real life Alfonso Ribeiro,
Hmm.
when he says, I feel like the black community has rejected me. And it's like, when you been out to the black community, sir? Regardless of who you love and who you married.
Didn't he say something about the black community was rejecting him because of his who his wife was? Because his wife is a white woman, right?
Mhm. That was,
Didn't
yeah,
he try to say that that's the reason why the black community doesn't accept him when
yeah,
nobody really said that?
no, that's not.
And everybody was like, "Hey, we didn't even know you were married." No offense, like
I mean, most people weren't checking for Alfonso Ribeiro, but
we
also
don't know who you're married to.
he wasn't really in spaces where we were.
Right.
So after Fresh Prince of Bel Air, all the stuff that he was doing was two stepping with another group. So
It seems
we
like he
weren't.
disappeared after Fresh Prince, to
Well,
me at least, because I wasn't. I guess
you weren't in the
right.
spaces that he was in.
Yeah, I
Because even from
guess.
the shows he hosted, to him being on Dancing with the
Yeah, I
Stars,
remember that
he
in America's
wasn't
Funny Home
in
Videos.
he wasn't in a lot of uh,
Predominantly
black
black spaces.
spaces.
Yeah.
Yes, so where we would be aware, but he would be on like daytime, talk show, almost like
Right, he was.
wasn't as popular as like Wayne Brady
Mhm.
in that space, but he was in those similar spaces as Wayne Brady.
Right. Yeah, I remember him hosting America's Funniest Home Videos. I think he might still do that, right? I
I don't
think.
know.
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't
Yeah.
care.
Mm.
Don't worry. I don't, sir. If you're listening to this, I reject you not because of who your wife is. I just reject you because I don't know you. No offense. I
I
don't know of
mean,
you.
it's someone made a very important comment, and I had to sit down because I felt it on so many levels. The people who otherize themselves is by saying like they spend a majority of their life trying not to be recognized, especially in blackness, because of the whitewashing that has been put into our lives. Like whitewashing is essentially a part of our everyday lives, from
Hmm.
the way we talk in at work to the way we present ourselves at the grocery store
Right.
to when we're dealing with police or any authority figure. Essentially, whitewashing is all up and through everything, right?
Yeah. Because whiteness has been equated with professionalism.
Yes,
So
and worthy of respect. And if you
yeah,
don't act this way, you will get no respect.
yeah. You
And
deserve
which
it because, oh, well, what did you do to deserve that? Or what didn't you
right,
do to deserve that?
exactly. Well, you should have listened. You should have said. You should.
Hmm.
I existed.
I'll tell you what you should do. Stop trying to tell me. That's one of my pet peeves. People who say what you need to do or you should do this. That's one of my things that it just irks my soul.
Down to the core, down to that, down to
I
the
was trying to
bottom.
think of what you said earlier. You said something to get your. You were very frustrated earlier before we started, and I can't remember what word you used for.
um, it burns. It burns. Like
Yes, when she
when
said it, she said it burns me.
I did say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and she said it
It
with such like just like she was just begrudged. Like she was a cantankerous old woman. That's what I said. Not that you are. That's what came across with that expression when you said
because it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna talk about why I said it burns me in just a minute,
it. Hmm.
but I'm trying to remember my point. Oh, so
Yeah, sorry.
so as we're talking about when, because I did it too, and that's why I had to sit down, because
Hmm.
it hit me, of otherizing myself to be accepted by a group who has all these rules to get in,
Right.
when being black is just enough to hang with black people. Like
I
I don't
rather
really.
like it.
Yeah,
I
like
rather like
I'm
it.
just like, I don't know why I'm doing all this work, like in academia, at work, or whatever, to get into a club that obviously does not want me, because every time I hit a goalpost, they move it again,
Yep.
right? Um, but he was saying this, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. There is some form of assimilation that has to occur on both sides for people to be able to hang out together, right?
Yeah.
And there has to be a give and take. It doesn't mean that the groups, or that either party is going to learn how to be the other person, but they're going to have enough space for each other to learn the other person, and in order to mesh well.
Yeah.
So when even though, like, I listen to like old school rap still, but if I wanted to like hang out with my nephews or be able to have conversation with them, especially about pop culture, I need to know what they're watching. I need to know what they're listening
Right.
to. I need to, I probably should know what sports they play. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So that we can, and the same thing for my nieces. Like, I need to know what they like. Do they like to dress up? Do they like to dress down? Do they like to do gymnastics? Like, what are some terms that I may need to know? Right?
Hmm.
It's the same thing with dealing with different cultural groups. There has to be some assimilation, even if there's not, like, even if you don't listen to all the same music. Because there was a time where I was listening to rock and Irish and
I remember the
um,
Irish phase. Yeah.
yes, I'm going back to that in a little bit, but that I was listening to rock, Irish country, gospel, and a bunch of mix of other things,
Hmm.
and it was. I didn't want to listen to Fetty Wap, because why? I don't want to listen to Migos. Hot top, crack crack.
Yeah, I literally don't understand it at this point. Like I
And I
try
was
to
just
listen
like,
to newer rap music and it's genuinely confusing to me.
I can be the old person. I can say that, and people will
I'm
get
good
on
with
me.
that.
Is this music from 2008? No, it's from 2006. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're
Um,
like Jordan then. Jordan can't get past 2010 with his music.
there's
It's
very few
rough.
songs from today that I actually like, and it's and I'm okay with that. But there are so many people who were questioning my blackness because I just did not care to, and I
Hmm.
didn't want to. But I knew once I realized that, okay, not everything is for everybody, right?
Yeah,
But I had to kind of cross that bridge and not just keep a wall up of saying that, well, you keep dogging me for what I listen to, you keep dogging me for what I like, you keep dogging me for the way I dress or whatever the case may be. Not saying, listen, y'all, do not take that as you need to be bullied into being what everybody else says. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that you should probably take into consideration what they like and not reciprocate that behavior.
right.
So if they like listening to Migos, maybe don't talk about how the Migos makes no sense and it sounds like shenanigans.
You're doing it again.
Maybe don't do that.
I
Learn
feel
from
like
my mistake and
I kind
don't
of
do
feel like assimilation isn't the right word in that sense. Then, like, it's almost like maybe assimilation versus accommodation, because it's not like you're taking on the person's identity and stuff. You're still just sort of like you're understanding what they might like and you're respecting what they might like. Maybe you're trying it out to figure it
yes.
out and stuff and see, oh, maybe this does click with me, or maybe I want to try this out. Versus like assimilation, which for me it has a negative connotation because that it goes to like, okay, you have to bend to their will, otherwise you're forced out and you're going to be othered automatically. So you know
Mm,
what I mean? Like I get where you're coming from with it, where it's like, okay, you have to sort of almost like a negotiation with friendships and relationships and stuff, where you're
yes.
sort of learning what the other person likes and just that give and take type thing. I don't see assimilation as a give and take situation. Like historically, it's never really been a give and take
On a
situation.
larger cultural scale, I can absolutely understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. In my brain, on a person to person level,
Hmm.
like I get why
I'm
that
not going to
can
listen to Ed
be.
Sheeran. Okay. It's not going to happen. You can't make me assimilate to listen to that man. Okay. Jordan will randomly send me pictures of Ed Sheeran
Is that why
just
you
sitting there
send me
like,
pictures of Tika Sumter? Like, I want you guys to stop this, okay?
N- no, it's like every once in a while he'll remember, like, I need to send Leah a picture of Tika Sumter. Like, literally out of the blue, he will remember that he needs to send you a Tika Sumter picture. For Ed
And
Sheeran,
every time whenever, oh.
he actually sent me a TikTok and hid the link and was like, make sure you click that TikTok, Jason. And I opened it and it was just Ed Sheeran's face right there. I'm not gonna listen to Ed Sheeran. I'm not gonna assimilate in your in your scale like that. But do go on. Explain how assimilation for in this situation how you're thinking of it.
No, so exactly what you're talking about, and I get why. And like now that I believe that accommodation, making space and giving grace in that space to make accommodation and um, for both parties to be,
Mhm.
or all parties to come together to be able to say, hey, these are my standards. This is what I do. This is who I am, and allowing them to exist in that space. And then maybe you take some of that, maybe you
Right.
give to that to
Right.
identify what you want the relationship to be, because you all can add to, take from, and saying, well,
Yeah.
I kind of want this in the relationship, but I kind of don't want this relationship, and it becomes kind of like a
Melting pot
melting
type
pot,
thing.
if you
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
Like it would be boring if everybody in friendships were just like, oh, okay, you listen to Ed Sheeran. I'm gonna start listening to only Ed Sheeran, the Moana soundtrack. Um, yeah. Sorry, I'm calling you
I
out.
want
Sorry.
you to not call me out like
Sorry.
this. I really want you to not call me
What
out
was the
like
other
this.
one? The Rent, was it Rent? It was Rent, right? And then there was a country singer. What was his name?
No, we're not doing this.
Something Grammar or something.
We're not doing this.
But
And he is
that will
not a
be
country singer. There, you're mixing up two or three artists altogether. But go on.
correct me.
No.
Give me lead this horse to water. But yeah, it would be boring. Like if you just every time you got into a new friendship, the friendship was just a mirror, right? And either they took on everything that you are or you took on everything that they are. It would
Yes.
be really boring. It's like even for our friendship, it's good that I don't like those things because we can joke about them. Like and
Yes.
like we can joke about the contrast between the stuff that I listen to, the stuff that you listen to, and how the stuff that you listen to is it doesn't make sense, right? I'm like, okay, no, I'm just
I'm gonna go cry in the car. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
we're
go cry
we're
in
gonna
the
talk
car.
about Ed Sheeran and why he. No, I'm just playing. I was just gonna do like how you did the Migos. I don't listen to the Migos. I barely remember their names, but yeah, it
I know Quavo's one of them, or
Quavo take
Offset.
off Offset. Every once in a while, Jordan will quiz me and be like, Jason,
Oh,
quick, who the Migos? So it's literally become a pop quiz for us because we couldn't remember them for a while. Not that we needed to remember them because neither one of us listens to the Migos.
I'm still having trouble identifying what house music is.
I love house music.
I
I love it so
I
much.
asked Google to play it, and I was just like, "Oh, it's like elevator music."
It's like yeah, Forever 21. If you listen to
I don't know when's the last time I've been inside of
me
an
either,
elevator.
actually. I've never been into. Well, no. When did I go into Forever 21? Somebody returned something to Forever 21. I'm not
Vegas,
gonna think about
maybe,
this too hard. Who?
maybe Vegas, maybe last year.
Yeah, I can't remember. Somebody
It's
went in
been
there.
some
Oh, I think
time.
it was yeah, one of my friends. We went to the mall once, and
You have
she had to
friends
return
other than
something.
me?
Apparently, isn't
Oh
that
my
crazy?
gosh.
It's wild. I know. This is where the Lifetime movie starts. Um, ooh, what is the name of that movie?
No, we're not doing this. Nope, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. You're making a point. Go back to your point. We're not doing this.
What was my point?
You were
Well,
talking
you
about the
house
importance of
music.
having different compare and
Yeah,
contrast of
yeah.
relationships.
Thank you.
You don't want
Yeah,
an exact
yeah.
mirror.
It's almost like again taking it back to writing because that's that's my stilo. I think I just aged myself.
You
Um,
did. Take it back to 702.
and I'm okay with that. But going back to writing, even like when you're writing anything, if you're writing some kind of argumentation or something, or if you're doing just an article, an opinion on a new song or something, you want to add something that's different to the table. You can imagine all the other opinions out there. You can imagine like your friendship. You can imagine your friendship being a round table, and you can imagine everybody sitting around contributing something to the round table to keep the conversation going. If
Mm-hmm.
everybody is just sitting there saying the same thing back and forth to each other, that's not going to be a long lasting friendship or relationship or companionship or work relationship or anything. It's not going to be it's not sustainable
Well, it's an
because
echo
eventually,
chamber.
yeah, it's the definition of an echo chamber where you're just literally just going in circles saying the same thing over and over again. Eventually, either somebody's going to be like, hey, this is boring and cut out, or you're going to turn on yourselves as friends. And then you will have your lifetime movie,
Oh my gosh. Why
right?
did we get back here? How did we get back here?
Because it always comes back to lifetime movies. But seriously, the echo chamber for friendships, um, the beauty in all the friendships that I have and the friendships that I've cared to maintain
Mm-hmm.
has they have been because they are so different from myself. Like I have friends that are very religious. I have friends that are just like clear cut staunch atheists. I have friends that are just spectrums. It's beautiful. It adds different flavor and seasoning to my life. Not that you guys are seasoning. Sorry, it sounds kind of racist. Um, please look. It's not how I meant it. Okay, you shouldn't take it that way. You shouldn't take it that way.
Did you just HR me? Oh my gosh. We all know what
So
he meant.
we know what he meant. So
Why are
it's
you
about the
taking it so
intention.
personally?
I think the important thing is that you build a tougher skin and you learn that these sorts of things just come up in the workplace sometimes and it's not how you meant it. So I think that you should apologize to him. Um,
In this scenario, I'm the one who needs to what exactly would I be apologizing for?
funny story about that psychotic South African billionaire. Um, I refuse to say his name. One of my students was writing like one of Tesla's lawsuit, or sorry, one of that electric car company's lawsuits about discrimination and harassment and racism, all that stuff, because they get one every few months. Um, One of them that, like, he wrote a memo to the people. I think if you Google psychotic South African billionaire HR memo for discrimination or whatever, you probably find the full thing. But basically what it was saying is, like, ultimately it's the employee's responsibility, the targeted employee's responsibility, to build a tougher skin and to take these things and just realize that they're just words, and to not take them personally, even though they're being called the N-word, even though they're being, like, called slaves and stuff. So when I read that this past semester, I was like, oh, wow, this is crazy. And the student was like, yeah, I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to this and build an argument around something that's so clearly like a horrible argument that he built, because they were supposed to, like, critique it or whatever. But yeah, crazy
Oh,
South
okay.
African billionaire is, it's off the chain. Um, yeah,
No, I don't know. I find it I find it
I do too.
um I'm trying to look for the word. But it
Yeah.
does. It burns me when people are just like they want you to be able to take whatever is dished out. But if they were on the other side,
Hmm.
they would want to police everything that you're saying.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't have, people can say what they want, but my thing is, if you're going to say what you want, you need to be ready for the consequences.
Exactly.
Like,
100%
that's the
agree.
thing that I've always said, or always believed. Say what you want, but understand that in certain circles, saying what you want it will not be a good situation for you in certain
Yes.
situations.
That's why we don't yell fire in a movie theater.
Right?
That is why we don't go to certain neighborhoods and yell out certain racial epithets.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
that's the
You
word I
got it.
want to
You're good.
use.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I've only ever said that word out loud twice.
Is this the second time?
This is the second
What? Wow. We're number two,
time.
listeners. We're number two.
Um, you can say, do, feel, whatever, and it doesn't even have to be anything. It doesn't even have to be anything racist or ageist or whatever.
Hmm.
Even just being disrespectful,
Yeah.
um, um, moving somebody out the way, or um, being, or even just talking crazy out the side of your neck to somebody's kid.
Yeah.
Like, you can say, do whatever you want, but you just got to be ready for whatever the consequences are, because
Hmm.
even though, like, for instance, there was a guy. Thank God for these men. So there was a guy who was, and this happened in Texas. So there was a guy who saw this young lady, and he was catcalling her. This is a grown blankety blank man catcalling a teenager, a young teenager, at a family event. The men saw what was happening, told him she's a kid. He continued to catcall her. Now, in this scenario, regardless of whatever his intentions were, he had to be ready for the consequences of his actions.
I mean, you were warned. You were warned probably more than 3 times. You were
I
alerted,
don't
then you
know.
were
I don't know if
warned.
they were. I don't know if there was a count, but he was
I mean,
warned.
once you were told, hey, this is a child, that should have been it, right?
Walk away. My
Walk
bad.
away.
Didn't know. Didn't walk away. Go live your life. No, you wanted to be stomped into the. You wanted your skin to blend in with the pavement.
Gee,
You wanted to
that's
meet
so
your
violent.
maker. You wanted to make sure that they got a good workout and that you were worked over a couple different times. And I'm just like, first of all, you in Texas where most people carry. Sir.
It's risky.
What did you think was
Like,
gonna happen?
that's
So you can say whatever it is you want to say, and people are like, "Oh, it's my free. It's a free country. I have my rights," and blah 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 blah. And it's like, okay,
yes, you do.
it's a free country, just like with the whole mask thing. I don't have to wear a mask. I live in a free state,
Mhm.
but you drove your car here to go to Costco. Yes. Okay, so you got in your car that you have a license for, that you have
Mhm.
registered and paid insurance on, because it's the law in a free country. Got it. You wore a seatbelt, right? Yes, to get here because it's the law in a free country. Uh huh. You obeyed the traffic signs, did you not? You did. Okay. You pulled in to park, got in line, showed your card to get in because this is a free country, and now you stop at wearing a mask.
Whoa, now. Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa,
just,
whoa,
I
whoa.
just, I just want this to
Let's
make
just pull it
sense.
back here, okay?
I just need it to make
First of
sense.
all, I caught the bus here, okay? Well, did you pay bus fare? Yes. Right.
I just, oh.
I'm sorry.
I just want to know who goes to Costco on the bus if you don't work there. Like, are you
Wouldn't that
doing
be
a Costco
wild?
run on the bus?
Wouldn't that be crazy?
How? What would you?
I don't even know how that would go.
Because
I
even
would
just carrying a bag, I mean, a thing of paper towels back
if you
home.
go to Costco for one thing, you are not supposed to get on a bus with it. With like the paper towels, you're gonna get like 50 in the
Right?
pallet, right?
It's just.
It's just logistics. I'm sure people do it. I'm sure people do it. I'm not sure how they do it. If you do
Because
that,
even if I had the cart with the wagon,
yes,
that's it's still too much. Like you got to bungee cord it down.
right.
Power to the people who have to do it. If I know that if I had to do it, I would make it work. But
I'm grateful that I don't have to do it.
I'm glad for the click to buy. I'm so
So
grateful for the click to
wait,
buy.
you're on the grocery ordering train now.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember before
The
you.
only thing I don't get from the grocery from like ordering the thing are my
Mhm.
is my produce. I'll go
Yeah,
across the streets to the market for that. But
yeah, that makes sense because that stuff is good over there. Like it looks
yeah.
really good over there.
Oh my gosh, the cherries are amazing.
Are they?
Oh
Wait,
my
which ones
gosh.
did you get? The
So I got a couple different cherries. I got the Rainier cherries, I got the dark cherries, and then I got the red cherries. And I'm
red
like,
cherries.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
they're
How were
brighter.
the
They're brighter than the dark cherries, but the dark cherries I think are still sweeter. Like the red cherries a little more tart.
how was the rainier ones?
The Rainier,
How were the rainier?
the Rainier reminds me of the sweetness of the Fuji apples.
Okay.
So they're kind of sweet, kind of tart.
Just sort of mellow.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So, but dark cherries is still top tier.
That's what's up. But yeah, if you go to Costco, sorry, we just got off track. If you follow all the rules, where do you draw the line? Like,
Like,
right?
how do you get to Costco and say, you know what, this mask is too much. I'm in a free country,
How do you get through
sir, sir.
all of these other rules and stuff? You walk through the door wearing clothes because it's probably
No
Costco's.
shoes, no shirt, no service.
You show the card because you know that you can't just waltz into Costco, which sort of implies that there are rules to being in Costco. So if they want to put any
Mm-hmm.
kind of policy in place, you're in agreement to it because it is a private company. It is their establishment. If somebody comes to my front door, I'm going to ask them to put a mask on. You're
Right.
not just going to barge in and just say, I'm not wearing a mask. This is a free country. No, this is private
Take
space.
your
Costco,
behind back to your house. What are you
right?
doing?
These businesses are essentially private spaces if you think about
Yes.
it. Like
Yes.
for whatever organization owns it or whatever person owns it, the, it's their personal space that they are inviting you to come in and spend money to buy stuff for. Yes, it's a public
Exactly.
store. It's only public as they want it to be,
Right.
right?
Right.
Uh, I don't get people. I just don't.
After all that talking, I barely even touched what the original topic was, and maybe we'll get to that next week.
I mean, I think that's good because you were burned about it. Like she shook
I
her head
was
like, I'm so
hurt
burned.
to my core.
You cut
That
me
was
to like white meat. So
I don't even remember her name. I know she was on the it was on one of the reality shows. It was on the Atlanta Mimi
Mimi.
Faust.
Oh,
No,
Mimi.
Mimi
Mimi Faust.
Faust. Yeah, when she was like, "You hurt me
You
to
hurt
my
me,
core,"
Stevie.
and I'm like,
Stevie, you hurt me. Is that
"Oh,
when she started sounding like she was gonna cry all the time, or has she always sounded like she was gonna cry all the time?
I think she got real serious. Like she was trying out for a Lifetime movie. Like after
Oh, back to the
the
Lifetime movie.
second
Okay.
season, I think that because every time, even when her and Deb, I think
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say Fetty Wap. That is not his name. Waka Flocka's mother
Mm-hmm.
was when Waka Flocka's mother, Deb, and Mimi were in the same room and they had to talk. I always put the subtitles on because the conversation went like this: I was hurt by everything he did to me. And then the other response is, I know I've been there. And I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are we doing this? That man hurt me to my core. And I'm like, okay, this is so I always run that back every single time my sisters do something like when I say, hey, I need to order this $800 table, and they're like, you don't need it. And then if I can't get that, I need it to live from Bebe's Kids, all my people out there who know what I'm talking about, I always pull that out of, you hurt me to my core.
We're gonna circle back to giving your sisters a shout out for talking you down from ordering an $800 table.
I mean,
Um,
it's a nice table.
yes, it is. It can be nice there.
It would be nicer in the dining area.
Sisters, sisters, keep strong. Keep strong. You're doing great.
Speaking of sisters, we may be coming out with merch. Yay!
T-shirts, t-shirts.
Um, my sister is helping me to work on some merch, and I know that I put a poll out on Instagram the week before, and some of you all were interested in merch. So we're working to put something together with pre-orders and whatnot. But thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Take a Space podcast. I am your host Leah, joined by Jason. Jason, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, JJ underscore Newberry, where I will be sharing music recommendations probably or not. You have to tune in to find out. Check me out.
Those are the only options. Either music
Yeah.
recommendations or nothing. Okay.
Will there be more? But hey, you might get music recommendations. You might not. You never know.
You might hear, oh, I gotta send you a song too. If you haven't heard Drunk on Myself by Ines, you all deserve to listen to that today.
Who?
Anes, Ines, Drunk on Myself. Thank you, Jocelyn, for
Okay.
turning me on to that song. That was a good song. Make sure to follow us at Take Up Space Pod. That's Take Up Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure to also follow us on YouTube by searching for hashtag Take Up Space Pod or Champions of Discourse. Be able to just follow the channel, like all the stuff, leave comments, all that great stuff. We'd love to see where you're tuning in from. Leave a rating. We would love to, connect with you a little bit more. Also, let us know what kind of merch you would be interested in. We're looking at shirts, mugs, all the good stuff, and it'll be black owned. So support black business, all that good stuff. It's
Yeah.
Juneteenth. We black all day, every day.
It is Anees, by the way.
Is it EES?
Yeah. It's called Drunk on Myself, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I found it.
Oh, I don't know why they put ANES. Okay.
That's a completely
Well,
different artist. I'm going to show you his picture in a second.
oh, then don't. No, okay. It's called Drunk on Myself. Just tell Google or Alexa to play Drunk on Myself by Ines, and then they'll know what to play. Yes, do that. Or just, ask your phone to do it. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You don't have to do it, but I thought that it might brighten up your life.
Leah,
Just
in the
play it in the
episode,
morning.
in the episode.
I'm sorry. I didn't
I'm
mean to
just
keep you
messing
all for
with
long. Thank you for staying for the benediction. You all have a good one. Thank
you.
you.
Did
Just no, we're ending. Thank
you
you.
just end a
Goodbye.
word? Did you use a
Just
word?
no.